right, everybody, welcome out to the Lagerman Guys Craft Beer Show. It is Tuesday, August the 4th, 2026. Jersey Johnny coming at you with me, as always, is none other than Mr. Beer Samurai. Say hello, Mr. Samurai.
Happy National Chocolate Chip Cookie Day, John.
Happy National Chocolate Chip Cookie
One of my favorite
Day
days.
to you, too, and for all of you out there that do celebrate. I'm going to have one as well. I added one thing into my chocolate chip cookie.
Give a Sausalito. Yeah,
I got the Sausalitos.
I went with Tate's.
Tate's are delicious.
I love Tate's.
But whenever I can, Tate's are delicious. But I saw Sausalito, and I need a macadamia nut. So.
Sometimes you feel like a nut. Sometimes you don't.
Sometimes you don't. Sausalito's got nuts. Tate's don't.
Tate's don't.
Because
unless you get the ones with nuts.
Sure. Those Tate's don't.
Well, because usually Tate's are way too thin to fit nuts into.
To be able to house nuts.
Whose nuts?
These nuts.
Yeah, I knew you were going there.
No,
I set you up for that. I gave you a beach ball on that one.
Yeah, you're good.
You smacked that one out.
These are good.
Okay, so for the next 15 minutes, people are just going to sit here and
listen to us eat cookies. Yeah.
All
right. Anyway, we should take turns talking while the other one chews. So.
Yeah, probably a good idea. Otherwise, it's just crunch, crunch, crunch.
Exactly. What am I listening to?
And we're talking with our mouth full. That's really not. It's not polite.
No, it's not.
It's not good. Emily Post would be so upset with us.
People are used to it with you on the beginning of their show every week. So.
You know, even Emily Post once said,
"Talk with your mouth full."
No, there's very little in the world that is less important than what fork to use when eating. Smell the milk. Gotta smell the milk.
It's like, what is that? Oh, it's not this. Why am I smelling water? There you go.
You can always tell when someone had roommates in college. Smell the milk. You're smelling the water?
I was joking.
Oh.
Smelling the milk. You got it, but then you went off. All right. Anyway, it is National Chocolate Chip Cookie Day. We went way too long on that one.
Yeah, we did. We milked it.
I see what you did there.
I'm sorry.
It is also National White Wine Day, so happy National.
We're not drinking any white wine on the show.
No white wine today.
But Thursday, we have a cocktail show on Thursday.
We have a cocktail show
this Thursday.
I probably won't be drinking any white wine on the cocktail show.
Unless we do white wine cocktails.
I don't know. We'll talk about it later.
We'll talk about it later.
We probably won't be playing any backgammon on the show tonight either.
So. Probably not.
Yeah. That would make for a very boring show, unless it was a show on backgammon.
And
even then, a boring show.
I really got to find. I got to find a podcast on backgammon and see how many followers they have.
We go with none. And to round it out, happy International Owl Awareness Day. Dave, are you aware that there are owls out there?
Who?
Exactly. All right.
Sorry.
Well, we've done our due diligence for that, and
when we originally talked about that whole day, it was actually set up the other way around.
Exactly.
But I took John's role in that one.
All right.
Yes, there is a podcast called Over the Board, hosted by Ed Hall. I wonder if that's. Oh no, it's not spelled Holl.
It's not. It's not John's brother or cousin or anything.
It's not. They have how many episodes they have here? They've got 33 episodes.
33.
It gets 5 out of 5 stars.
How often do they do an episode?
It's 13 ratings. It looks like every week.
For the last 13 weeks? 30 weeks?
33.
Interesting.
I can't get a start date on it, though.
So 8 months ago, roughly, they started a backgammon podcast.
Yeah, so if you're interested, if you are a backgammon enthusiast, look for Over the Board. Over the Board.
Look, there you go.
The Backgammon Podcast.
Let's see what they did in the back.
Did you notice how quickly that focus did on that?
Yeah, very nice new camera, Dave.
I've got a new webcam.
Why? Way to tell everyone that you bought. Segue into telling everyone you bought a new webcam.
Yeah, it does all kinds of interesting things like this.
Yes, I think you should do the rest of the show like that.
Yeah, right. No, actually, John wants me to do the rest of the show like this.
No, you need to do the show on December 29th. Like
That way I could throw down.
you can throw down. Exactly.
Throw up.
Exactly.
It doesn't say how many followers it has.
Actually, you'd be at that point. You'd be legitimately throwing up.
Yes.
Right.
All
right.
Okay. Anyway, enough about backgammon.
Enough about backgammon. I'm thirsty, and
I'm thirsty too.
I know he's very thirsty as well. So
He's been drinking already. He was drinking when we were going through the technical difficulties.
He was. Well, it was just testing out his camera. We'll talk more about that when we bring him on. Please welcome to the show, Mr. Oliver Meinhold of Zee Loeffler. How are you, sir?
Thank you. I'm doing fine. How about you guys?
Oh, very good. Very good.
Are you a backgammon enthusiast?
Not really.
Okay. Just checking.
So,
because I got a podcast for you if you.
I'm not. I think I might have tried to play it once when I was a kid. That was the about.
Actually, my brother, my older brother, and I used to play it all the time. We were both actually pretty good, but he cheated a lot.
Well, that might be the reason he was good.
Yeah.
You can't say you were both really good if he cheated a lot.
Which made me very good because I was able to beat him a lot.
Well, there you go.
And he was cheating.
There you go. Fair enough. All right. All right. Before we get started, got a lot to talk about tonight. Got a lot. We're going to talk a lot of German beer. We're going to talk a lot about the beer industry too, and everything from brewing to cleaning practices, obviously, and everything else. So we're going to talk a lot about that. But I'm thirsty. I know you guys are. Oliver, what are you drinking first?
I'm drinking a Pilsner beer.
Okay. What? Which one would that be?
It would have been.
Gretz Pilsner. Very nice. Very, very
it's clean.
Nice.
It's crisp. It's a beautiful beer.
You can't beat a really clean, crisp Pilsner. It's nothing like it.
And a well-balanced bitterness. That's what counts.
I love them, and I should be drinking them tonight, but I'm not. Obviously,
yeah,
I'm drinking tonight. So. But there's a reason we'll get to later in the show. Foreshadowing.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. Neither John nor I are drinking anything particularly crisp tonight.
Nope.
That's fine.
And it's definitely on the our beers are definitely on the malty side. So
yeah.
Dave, what are you drinking first?
I'm starting off with an Eyinger.
Oh, my bob.
So it's back over Oliver's left shoulder there. If you go across the street, that's where Eyinger is, right?
There is one around the corner. Yes.
Yeah, I think it's right. I think it's right there, right next to an Irish pub. And I spent. I was told once that I drank in that building right behind you, but because of Eyinger and the Irish pub, I don't particularly remember drinking in that building right behind you.
There is an Irish.
Actually, the location, what we see on the picture in my background, is the origin of the Braunes Hofbräuhaus, the Brown Hofbräuhaus, which was established to bring the bock beer from northern part down. But we will talk about the history later. But that was the origin of the Bavarian bock beers.
Very nice.
I'm not using exactly appropriate drinkware for this because it's in the Weinstefano boot.
That's totally fine.
And
as long as it tastes, it's good.
And I love in the movie how they say, you drink, and then when the bubble just hits the toe, you twist. Yeah. Just drink it sideways to begin with, and you don't have to worry about the damn.
You're right.
That's true. And then, if you got the big boot, you have the drinking games going on. You have one boot that rotates around the table. Mm-hmm. And basically, the person who finished second last always have to pay for the next round.
Second to last.
Second to last.
Yeah.
Not last. Second to last.
Second to last. Yes, correct.
That's so interesting.
Yes.
I like that.
Or if you, in Bavaria, you also see it often with what we call a Humpen, which is like a stein, but can come up to 3 or even up to 5 liters capacity.
Ooh, so 5 liter stein. Wow.
Very nice.
And then, again, filled up, rotates, and then the second to last, he is in charge of getting the new one.
It's 5 liter stein. Wow.
It's a good thing I turned my gain down, because when he said 5 liter stein, if my gain was about my mic, you'd hear my bladder cry. Say.
Yeah, 5 liters. I mean, how you gotta drink that pretty damn fast, because if you don't, the beer in the bottom of that is kind of warm.
I mean, it's moving on from one person to another, so it's emptying pretty quick. Yeah.
Yes.
So
That's fair enough. It's
Okay.
a communal 5 liter stein.
it is a commuter 5 liters. Yes.
And the addition of saliva helps break down the enzymes
Yeah.
in beer
You
as
know,
it
you
gets
add
pushed
extra
faster.
enzymes to
Yeah, nice.
breaking down
Exactly.
the sweetness and stuff like this. Correct.
Yeah, okay.
I do know a couple people that would probably keep the whole 5 liters for themselves. But
I know at least 2.
yeah, I think we're on the same ones, right? So, but in any event, all right.
Maybe
So
3. Actually, that's not the first thing I'm drinking tonight, though, because I'll be drinking the first thing you're drinking tonight, but after you show your first beer.
okay.
Right? We're doing this, right? We're doing these again?
Oh yes. That is the first thing I'm drinking. That is my first beer. I didn't take a sip yet. You're right. I forgot you went there. I was like, why were you drinking that? But you're right. We're drinking them. I knew I was. I thought you were talking beer, but my first beer is I went Augustiner Brau,
nice.
Maximator.
Yeah.
John's going to make Brian Bogue proud on the show today.
Yes, going all high. This is 7.5. This is my lowest ABV. They don't get much higher, but it's my lowest ABV. But Dave is completely right. We're going.
You don't have to shake them, John.
I know.
I do the same thing. They're like those little yogurt drinks that you give kids, right?
That's what it is. That's
like
what
Danimals. They look like Danimals.
Danimals, yeah. But we're doing our morning recovery because they've worked so far, so we're going to keep doing it. So why not?
Okay.
It's 100
And a proof
milliliters.
to it.
Exactly.
What? I like just watching you struggle to get
This is
that.
but that's all fine for the video show, but not so much for the audio. So.
Right.
Yeah, but then they can hear us talk about why there was a
little lull in the exactly.
This little pregnant pause because John's really struggling to get down. How many ounces is this thing, and how long does it take?
3.4 ounces.
Jeez. Yeah. It's a shot. It's a double shot.
It's a double shot. I know. So anyway, all right. I'm ready to mix some Doppelbock with that lemon milk thistle stuff.
Mine's going to go better with that.
I'm sure yours will. So, but cheers, gentlemen. Prost.
Zum Wohl.
Prost zum Wohl.
There you go. Oh, that's very good. Actually, it didn't even matter.
Oh, I forgot how much I love this beer. It's been a while since I've had it. It's such a good beer.
Exactly. All right. So let's get started. Oliver, let's ask the first question we always ask everybody. We get it started, get the ball rolling that way. Is can you remember the very first beer you ever had? I'm just going to say beer because of most people.
You grew up in Germany, Oliver?
I did grow up in Germany, yes, and that's actually a tough question because, especially in Bavaria, you can often see that when families with a 2-year-old sit at the bar, not the bar, but the beer garden, and the kid sits on the table, and he's this big nice stein with a nice head on it. Oh, Daddy, I want to try that. So. Probably at the age of 2 or 3, that's where you have the first contact with beer foam. So
sure.
I mean, it's not volume, but that's why I cannot really tell when my first time I had actually beer. But probably one of these.
So let's go. Let's go with to the best of your recollection as a maybe not necessarily an adult, but could be the first beer you actually drank the entire one and enjoyed and wanted to. You know.
Well, that was more like when I was a teenager, 16 years old, when it was legal, and I was actually a member of the volunteer fire department, and the negative reputation they have is they're not only extinguishing fires, they're also extinguishing the thirst with a lot of alcohol. So it was,
you're talking to 2 former volunteer firefighters too.
Yeah, and then so I actually, because we did some weekend trips with them, and actually I collected a nickname called the Black Magic Weissbier Killer. So,
and I bet in German, there's one word in German for that, isn't it?
No, it was actually the English version. They never said this. That was the term they used, and because we went to the Alps, and I love wheat beer in those days, and I always was for the dark ones, and I don't know how many I had, but seems like it was obvious enough for many people to notice it, and they called me the Black Magic Weissbier Killer.
Black Magic Weissbier Killer, love it. That's great. So that's an open, by the way, definitely. I wrote the time down.
And also, you know why firemen drink so much.
Go ahead.
And that's in case the pumper runs out of water, we can use our bladders to help extinguish the fire.
That's another thing. Yes.
Yep.
True.
Oh yeah, many a time at the scene of a fire when everything was done, I was I had to go check for fire extension.
Yeah.
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 I'll be over here, Chief. I'll be.
Yeah, if we're
I'll
doing
be right back.
knockdown, just put a little hole in the wall and you can.
No, I got to go check the bathroom to see if anything was singed in there, damaged in there. I didn't just go wherever, but anyway.
Depends on the state of the building.
It depends on the state. Well, yeah, that's true too. That is very true. If there was a brush fire out in the meadows, that's a different story.
Oh yeah, you get a half keg and a bunch of guys, and you can put the brush fire out.
How about it? Right?
Absolutely.
How about it? All right. All right. So when after you were dubbed the Black Magic Rice Beer Killer, when did you decide that okay, this is something that I need to do as my life?
So actually, in about 15 days, it will be 40 years that I landed the first time here on this side of the ocean in America as an exchange student. And I spent 1 year in St. Louis, Missouri, had connections to Anheuser-Busch, and that basically kind of triggered it. Besides, we have all the family members who are working in the brewing industry. But that year basically told me that when I get back home, do my German Abitur, and then I'm going to study, that I'm going to be the brewing scientist. So that was the triggering. And from that point on, I kind of, tried to stay on track of this, which I did.
That's awesome.
So that was.
So where did you attend in, you attended brewing science, obviously brewing school in Germany.
So I started in Weinstefan, and then I moved over to Berlin. That is a little bit more international than Weinstefan. And I basically finished up there my study. And then after this, I worked at the Research and Teaching Institute for Brewing in Berlin, what we call the VLB. And then from there, I switched over to the university, where I studied and was an assistant professor for 7 years there. And then I was lucky. I was drawn in the green card lottery in 2010. And basically then from there on, I pushed my wife and I over here to this country, and it worked very well. And I had a short-time job in the California area. And then shortly after that, I reconnected with Zee Loeffler. And he said, hey, Oliver, I can need you. And you want to start for me? And that's when I started working with Loeffler. And then in 2019, Dirk sold the company to Zee. And I'm there since then at Zee Loeffler.
At Zee Loeffler. Very nice.
And Loeffler Chemicals is an old company based out of Germany, founded in 1931. Was basically a chemical industry, and then it switched more and more over to cleaning sanitation in the food and beverage. And then when Dirk, third generation, came over, he focused specifically on the brewing industry. And, early 90s, that was a perfect time. And we grew really fast. And that's how basically I was in, I don't know how many different breweries. Meanwhile, I'm here in this country.
I can imagine. Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Any of note that, memories of being in those breweries and doing whatever you were doing for Zee Loeffler, Dirk Loeffler at the time or whatever, but you can that hold a special place. Hey, you know what? I spent a little time in this place. You're fond of that.
It is. I mean, that's the beauty about this industry that, when you walk in and, they learn that with my German accent and the brewing scientist, all these brewers are super proud of their products. Hey, Ollie, try this. Hey, Ollie, try that. So we start talking. And of course, there's one beer after another. And, and then he says, hey, and after this, we go over to the next brewery. And, there were times where basically there was at every corner brewery.
Sure.
We had sometimes really, really long evenings with a lot of beer and, sometimes kind of lack of recollection what happened,
No,
it's
I
fun.
hear you.
Yeah.
Oh, it is.
It's fun.
This industry is amazing.
It's especially the people working in this industry, especially in the craft brewing industry. They're just phenomenal people.
Yeah. And one of my favorite things, and certainly by far not my only favorite thing to do, but one of my favorite things to do every year is where I met you at Craft Brewers Conference. Down in Philadelphia. It was it's always a great time because you get together with people that and a lot of the time, I don't have to tell you, this industry is as large as it is. It's very small. We all know each other.
It is. People know each other.
Absolutely.
It's quick to reconnect, and there's a lot of motion. People move on from one brewery to another. So you start collecting a lot of connections and contacts in the different breweries, And I mean, I have a bunch of German friends who are here in the American craft beer industry.
Sure. And we, and like I said, it's just amazing. You walk into the trade show floor at any CBC, and you see people that you haven't seen since last CBC, right?
Absolutely.
Or for us, since the last time they were on the show, right?
Right.
Which is all virtual, and everybody knows that. So, but physically seeing them since the last CBC, and it's fantastic. But to that point, to your point, German brewers over here in the United States, we have a couple of people, husband and wife actually, from New Jersey that moved to Munich and opened an American brewery in Munich. And
I mean, living in Berlin, there are a few Americans who actually moved to Berlin and started working in the, opening a little brewery or working for German breweries there. So there's a good exchange, let's say it this way.
It's a very good exchange, absolutely. And I plan on being over there next September for Oktoberfest. So
yes,
it's going to be fun. Yeah, looking forward to that one. Have
you been there?
Have not.
Oh,
I'm half German, and I have not been to Germany yet.
Oh my goodness!
But are you going to get to Higgins, John?
I'll definitely go see Paul and Jen. Absolutely.
Yeah, Higgins is they're right in the shadow of the Löwenbräu brewery. It's you walk out their door, look to the left. There's the Löwenbräu logo.
Mm.
It's like, but they're very popular. It's funny. We had them on the show, and they talked about the fact that
Now, is that the Spaten Franziskaner Löwenbräu or just?
Yes. I don't know if you can see the Franziskaner, but you can definitely see the Spaten, and you can see the Löwenbräu labels.
Mm-hmm.
But they say every year, and it's become very popular at their brewery, they do the pumpkin ale.
They do a pumpkin ale in Germany. So clearly they're not adhering to Reinheitsgebot. So.
But they can't call it beer, so they call it
Correct.
a pumpkin malt liquor.
Pumpkin malt.
And I forget what the German phrase was that Paul used that he has to call it.
You can call it also beer mix drink, and then it's all okay. So basically, you have to take the uniqueness of the term beer out, and then you can also call it something, do whatever you want with
like a beer cocktail or something like that.
Whatever.
To that extent. Gotcha.
Yeah, I forget what phrase he actually used. I'd have to go back and look at the show.
Yeah, because you have to call it beer, you have to adhere to Reinheitsgebot. So.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely.
And up till the mid-'80s, it was even not allowed to import non-Reinheitsgebot beers, and then the European Union put pressure on Germany. So that's why we are now able to import non-purity law-conform beers. But the Germans still have to follow this.
Sure. And we're very glad that they do.
Yes, we are. Because every now and then you get sick and tired of your smoked sour milkshake IPAs.
Smoked sour milkshake IPA.
Barrel aged.
Yeah, exactly.
True. I mean, it's legal to make a smoked beer. It's legal to make a sour beer. So you can get there.
That's in Reinheitsgebot.
Yeah.
But a milkshake.
Not
so much. Well, you're adding lactose.
You can't add lactose now.
Actually, to adjust the pH, you need to use basically self-propagated lactobacillus.
Bacillus.
So you cannot use any like phosphoric acid or anything.
Right.
You're not using the actual milk sugar. You're using the lactobacillus yeast.
Yes, you propagate it, because the reason is it's already sitting on the barley kernel, so it's part of the nature, not normal stuff. So you can actually use it. Yes.
That's awesome. I may or may not have one of the other two higher ABV beers tonight that is a smoked beer. Might actually be from Bamberg too. We'll see.
Very famous brewery there.
Might be a famous brewery there. Exactly. So
I have one of those in the fridge as well.
Do you? Well, we have a comment from Brian Boak. He said, "Cheers out to dinner in LBI with the family. First two beers, Manifirkin, good Carmel. Okay, and Darth Vlader. Okay. Vlader. Okay. Can't listen to Cheers at dinner right now. Okay. Thanks, Brian. There you go.
Well,
Brian's one of our weekly
commenters,
contributors that way, and then he comes on a show once a year in September.
And in less than a month, it'll be the show that he's always on.
Exactly.
Nice.
So,
It kicks off football season.
it kicks off football season. Yeah.
American football.
So
We call it our tailgate show.
our tailgate show. Exactly. All right. So let's dial it back before you went to work for Loeffler. Were you have you ever brewed professionally as a?
Yeah, we brewed when I was studying. We brewed there. I did sometimes brew with the brewmaster there for my own beers, and actually it was funny because over Christmas I flew home to my parents from Berlin to Munich, and wanted to surprise them with my self-brewed beer.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked the biggest German airline, Lufthansa, if I can actually take a 30-liter keg with me on a plane.
Mm-hmm.
And so they said, if you check it and if you don't want to carry it on, that's totally fine. So it was kind of an interesting story to observe the people when you roll up to the check-in counter, with a 30-liter keg, drop it off there. And then, when it got dropped off at the conveyor belt in Munich, and then I was just sitting and standing a little bit away from the belt, just watching all the people with the eyes just falling. Who is gonna pick it up?
Whose is that?
Who's my new friend?
I'm going home with him.
Yeah, who's my new friend?
So that was a really cool thing. And then, of course, we brewed here and there in the brewery. I never really did home brewing. I never had the equipment or the space, the time, the patience for that. But we brewed at the university a lot. It was a lot of fun there, and we had to brew sometimes, drinking beer in quotation marks, for events. Officially, we cannot really do things on the commercial side because we were accepted for many things. We didn't have to pay any taxes on it. We were allowed to brew outside of the purity law for research purposes. So, but as long as the beer was consumed on site, everything was fine.
Right. So. Absolutely. Did you get into any brewing while you were at Weihenstephan?
Yes, we did brew there too. The majority I did was when I continued on with my studies in Berlin. That's where we did more, because then the classes got smaller, or when you did master thesis and stuff like this, then you have more time. You're actually more within the different chairs, and then we had like 4 different breweries in Berlin in those days, and in the university, and that was a lot of fun.
And I got to ask, were there an overwhelming amount of Berliner Weisses being brewed in Berlin? or is it just a style that was invented there and then everybody else took it too?
No, it's kind of a wave. They used to be really good, and we actually still had Berliner Weisse in bottles from the 70s there.
Oh my God.
And as long as the seal from the Crown Cork, was good, it's actually a really good beer, and it's actually the only beer which really gets even better if you store it for a while.
Sure.
Once you have, the composite in the side of the Crown Cork, dries out, oxygen can't get in, then it's done. But
it's not so good. Yeah.
Yeah. And when the VLB had I think it was 125th anniversary, we brewed. My boss, he actually used to work for Bitburger for many years. We made a nice Berliner Weisse, which turned out really, really good. And we packaged it in like champagne bottles, and it was like a present for the guests who came. And that was a lot of fun.
Did you now of course we're talking Reinheitsgebot, and on the Maximator that I just drank, if you read the top of the label, what does it say there, Dave?
Brewed according to, in English, the purity law.
There you go. Doesn't
say
Reinheitsgebot. So now, but on that
package for Americans,
right? But on that note, there's many Berliner Weisses brewed here in the States, and of course they're fruited. They have so many adjuncts in them, so forth and so on. Now in Germany, it was just the actual Berliner Weiss, but when was Woodruff syrup first introduced?
Honestly, I don't know when it was in, but I love it. It's a very interesting taste. It's not sweet.
I love adding.
Oh my gosh, it's so great. And I love when I blend it by myself, or if it's not a premix, if it's like, you can talk to the guy at the bar and say, hey, just add a little bit. Don't make it too sweet, so you just get a little bit of hint of this. You balance out a little bit the acidity from the beer. That's when it really is fun. But if you get these pre-mixed, unfortunately, sometimes they use, instead of real sugar, some artificial sweeteners. It has something to do with the beer tax, because when you add sugar, you increase the gravity, the beer tax will go up, which doesn't happen with sweetener. But then the sweetener is not. It's not a great.
It's not a great taste, no. And some of these that are pre-mixed, they're just too sweet. I want give me my plain Berliner Weiss. Add just enough of that Woodruff syrup. It's just an amazing flavor, and I love every minute of it. I do.
And normally you just order either red or green, because it's only raspberry or Woodruff. Of course, there are other flavors out, but the classical one is either a red one or a green one. Right. Everybody knows which flavor you're talking about.
Exactly. I love it. It's one of my favorite styles.
It's a beautiful summer beer, after you did sports, because the classical Berliner Weiss has like around a little bit above 2% ABV, so it's not really knocking you out, even so you did an hour sport or so. But it's refreshing, the acidity with a little bit of a sweetness and the flavor from the syrup. It's perfect.
And it can actually rehydrate.
And it can to a point, it can rehydrate.
At that low of an ABV, it absolutely can. Actually, there's been studies made that with low levels of alcohol, the hydration actually happens quicker. Rehydration. Not too sure if that's true or not. Sounds like it sounds like Gene Lynch may have written that.
Sounds like something friends of ours would say, but
yeah.
But subjective feeling.
Yeah, exactly. Well, if it helps you rehydrate and you feel good about it, have at it.
Absolutely, go for it.
There you go for it. Samurai, did you just? I'm sorry, Dear Beer Samurai.
Yeah, beer Samurai.
Samurai. By the way, did you see my name?
Jersey Johannes.
Yeah.
See, you know what samurai is in German?
A samurai.
Yes. Actually, in every language on the planet, samurai is samurai. Especially in Japanese. Especially oddly enough. I'm sticking with Iyengar because my local liquor store had it, and it's like, wow. I live in a very high Hispanic neighborhood, so to find Iyengar here is a treat. It's one of my favorites, and I have the Iyengar, the Altbayerisch Dunkel.
There you go.
Nice, beautiful.
I probably brutalized Altbayerisch, but saying that word, probably didn't pronounce it properly. But put it in my.
It's actually a. Oh, sorry. It's beautiful. It's a very beautiful brewery. So when you go to the Oktoberfest next year, see if you can get to visit them. They're really nice. They're a little bit southeast of Munich. They built a really nice brew house probably 25, 30 years ago. And it is, although you can rent it for events like a wedding. So you can actually celebrate your wedding. It's a venue between the, the mash tun, lauter tun, and cattle. So it's beautifully located. And it was actually used for multiple TV shows, as like when it was about brewery. That was basically the place they shot these videos and the movies.
That's great. I love that.
So it's really nice.
My obligatory.
And there's really good restaurants around. So really classic Bavarian, but on the upscale. So you can get some really classical, good Bavarian food there.
I'm planning on visiting, other than Munich, at least four other cities while we're going to go for 10 days or so, maybe 2 weeks, but obviously Munich for a while, but definitely want to get to Ain. Want to get to Freising, of course.
Yes.
Want to get up to Bamberg.
Oh, yeah.
And
stay at Spezial.
Absolutely. Now you told me. Yeah. And then I want to visit the family name town. My last name is Vladungen.
Okay, cool.
It's about maybe 2 hours northwest of Munich, a little west of Nuremberg.
Okay, cool. Oh, perfect. Bamberg, this Franconian area is one of the highest brewery densities in the world. There's a lot, you can cycle with your bike from one little town to the next one. Endless amount of breweries, beautiful breweries. I'm hoping I can make it a 2-week trip. Yeah. And if you maybe you can include one of the 3 breweries I also added on, Weltenburg. It's also not far away from there. That's a beautiful old monastery brewery. Gorgeous.
Oh.
Can highly recommend that.
Yeah. Well, you're gonna have to tell me a little bit more about that because I want to take the notes down.
We will do.
Definitely. All right. Just so you're aware, my second beer is from the aforementioned Munich brewery, Spaten Franziskaner Lowenbrau, and it is Spaten Optimator.
Oh wow! Yes.
So I went up 1/10 of percent in ABV, 7.6.
I actually dropped down to 5.
You dropped down to 5. Yes, you did. So.
But increased my SRM and my malt.
Now, funny enough about this beer is about maybe 8 months old, maybe 7, 8 months old. Optimator has been, at least in New Jersey, a little difficult to get.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure whether the importer is not bringing it in or the distributors in New Jersey are bringing it in. But yeah, it hasn't been available in New Jersey for about 8 months. So maybe a little bit longer. But yeah, so there you go. So but it's a Doppelbocks, so I'm sure it's just fine.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why we have strong beers. Longer shelf life, you can ship around the globe. So that was the reason. That's all the export. That's how it started out.
Such a good beer. Such a good beer. Spaten. It's such a good beer. I love the Munich lager from Spaten, but the Optimator is probably my favorite spot. So
I'm a big fan of the Franziskaner Weiss beer.
Franziskaner Weiss is my number 2 Weiss beer. My favorite hef is on Samurai Shirt. So there you go.
Most people's favorite hef is these guys.
Yeah, true.
But I mean, Franziskaner is probably literally. It might not even be 2. It might be 1B. All right.
Just a hint behind.
Just a hint behind. So there you go. All right. So now let's talk about Zee Loeffler for a little bit. So now they started with the food service as far as the chemicals and the sanitation, so forth and so on. With the food service and dairy and so forth. Now that was the original plan for what Dirk Loeffler did.
So the actual what we call the Vinci group, which is basically the mothership of the whole group, started out in the slaughterhouse by having a patented product to remove the hairs from the pigs.
Okay.
And then they started actually getting into the contract cleaning.
Blowtorch.
Pardon?
Was it a blowtorch?
No, it was actually kind of a solvent-based liquid. So
You said it was a pig, and you said, yes.
Yeah. And then, they started into the whole contract cleaning, cleaning poultry plants, slaughterhouse, and so on every night, go in with big groups, clean everything from top to bottom. And then in the morning when the USDA or FDA shows up and basically tests everything and then hands it over to the production again. And then the company grew. We are, I think, now 9,000 people strong.
Wow.
And then there was a new division formed called Zee. And under this division, we have multiple subdivisions. And in 2019, the idea was to push the brewing division, which existed before, very, very small, but make it much bigger. And so they acquired Loeffler Chemicals. And so we added a significant amount of customers to that. And we continued on doing the same, with just complete different capabilities and background, and continued on, servicing all the different breweries, here and there, wineries, distilleries, but the main focus is still on the breweries. Of course, the current situation of the brewing industry is not the most favorable at the moment. So
it's not. It's unfortunate, but yeah,
it is. It's so sad. So we actually kind of spread out more to beverage in general and food.
Mm-hmm.
But it helps a lot, and so we are busy.
Yeah, I've been racking my brain for a while now. How can I mean, like, I'm one person. We're 2 people, Dave and I, and we're 3 people, the 3 of us, right?
But we are mighty.
Yeah, we're mighty, right? Yeah, but mighty here. That's about like we can. If that works, that's fine. But in any event, my point is.
I was talking about mighty here.
Oh, that too. But if I, what what can I do? What can I offer? What can be my contribution to helping this? And I'm not going to call it a crisis just yet, right? And I don't want to call it a leveling out. I don't want to call it a correction. I don't want to call it any of that
We're
because
really not sure how to categorize it.
right, it's a lot of things, right? I mean, probably the largest, certainly not the only, but the largest reason for a lot of brewery closures is real estate. It's the building owners. You know, the breweries that own their buildings, they're fine. You know, and they're comfortable. we'll talk about that too, right? Because there's other factors too, but for the most part. But you know, these landlords, you have your 10-year lease, or you had your 20-year lease back when you started, or 15, or whatever you did. But those numbers, those leases are coming up. And you know, these building owners want their, you know, everybody else is getting their money, they want theirs, and the industry right now is not a time to have the extra capital to spend more money.
Absolutely.
So you know, we're in New Jersey here. I believe they were the second or third brewery, production craft brewery, back in the 90s that opened. Was River Horse Brewing in Lambertville. And they had since about 10 years ago or so had moved to Ewing, into a larger space, and they wound up you know, going up to 100 barrels and even more than that, and distributing to other states, and having other so forth and so on. They bought Duclaw Brewing out of Maryland and brought that into Jersey, and they were brewing that as well. But their lease came to, and now they just announced the other day that at the end of the year, they're fine till December 31st, but at the end of the year, they're done. They're going to continue both brands. They're going to continue the River Horse brand and the Duclaw brand. They're going to contract brew at an undisclosed brewery in the middle Atlantic somewhere. And so all the accounts will remain, you know, the off-prem locations. They'll still have their distribution, but their actual home and their house and their tap room, and, you know, their control basically over their beer as well, is gone. So, and that's 100% real estate on there. So
that's just what you see in many places, that especially small brew pub chains. You know, let's look at Gordon Biersch. You know, I think there's only one left from close to 40 in the at the peak of the time.
I think you're right.
And also that, you know, like I said, some of these breweries just get together, you know, put the brands together, get more powerful from the money side. Somebody owns actually the facility. Let's brew it there. Let's optimize it. Let's upgrade. Let's automate, things like that. And well, we all know Stone got bought by a big Belgian company, having 3 big production facilities here in the country. So it will be brewed probably throughout the whole country. So distribution is much easier.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of things going on in this direction that, you know, more and more merge together, taken over, and hope to survive that way.
Mm-hmm.
Or they just keep the brand and then they utilize it some other larger brewery as a contract brewery.
Well,
you know, facilities we don't even know because they have no name out there. You know,
there's no name out there. There's breweries out there that literally are nothing but production breweries for contracts.
Yeah.
So there's no brands. There's, you know, all the brands that come out of them, but you don't know who they are. So
right.
But with quick comment we have from Mark McAteer. He comments in saying, "I'm planning my German brewery trip for 2027 already. Looking to do southern portion of Germany." There you go.
Probably the best portion for beer, in my opinion. But
we'll talk, Mark. I don't know when you're going, but we'll talk. In any event, no, you're absolutely right. It's there's a lot of production breweries that do contracts, and hey, you know what? They're two roads up in Connecticut. That's their they hung their hat on contract brewing because the right in their name, Two Roads. It's 2 roads to make revenue, right? 2 roads.
Right.
They have their own beer, and then they contract brew a number of larger, familiar breweries to everybody.
Right.
It's beer. So that's how that name came about. But in case you didn't know that, there's a little, not you, Ollie, anybody else.
Talking to the audience.
I'm talking to the audience.
It's not talking to me. I knew that.
He knew that too. But anyway,
He told me that.
so I do feel bad for the industry. But back to Zee Loeffler. It's good that look, every industry, food service, dairy, so forth and so on, obviously needs sanitation. So it's good that you can you're already doing it. You kind of jump back to it. So it's at least perpetuating that. So, but as far as the brewery goes, I'm assuming all brewing chemicals, all cleaning sanitizers, so forth and so on, everything across the board. What's available? What, if any, brewery owners or brewers or general managers are listening to this podcast, either watching the video or re-listening on the audio? If they're not familiar with your company, or maybe they are, but they don't have any information, so forth and so on,
Right.
what would they be interested, or should they be interested in speaking to Zee Loeffler about?
So, I mean, when I started in the brewing industry, I noticed that 80% of the brewing work is actually cleaning and sanitation.
Oh, absolutely.
It's by far the majority. Is not the nicest job, but it's a very, very important job.
It's you're a janitor more than you're a brewer. That's what it
right.
is.
So, I mean, by far you have organic fouling, so you need to remove organic carbohydrates, proteins, and so on from the different equipment. So the caustic is by far the number one cleaner. The caustics can be built with some additives in it to make the efficacy of the product itself more efficient. Here and there you should use an acid to remove any scale, some hardness from the water, be a stone in a keg, etc., etc. And then, of course, sanitation itself is like the key. I'm a big fan of peracetic acid. It's probably my favorite sanitizer for multiple reasons. First of all,
We've never done top 3 acids, John.
You can use it as
I'm worried what you would use.
I mean, there are multiple sanitizers out there, iodine-based, quad-based, etc., etc. I like, first of all, those who actually physically kind of destroy the microorganisms. Others basically just inhibit the passage through the cell wall, and those cells can actually get used to this.
Sure. And
like with antibiotics, some of these bacteria then can, the antibiotic doesn't work anymore. Same with those sanitizers. So PAA, the beauty is if PAA breaks down, all these compounds naturally occur in beer. So if we call about a non-rinse sanitizer, which was a little step for me to learn here in the States, because that's not possible in Germany, everything needs to be rinsed. Mm-hmm. But, when you cannot guarantee any, sterile water or anything, so before you start recontaminating your equipment, I rather have a few droplets of a, low diluted PA solution in my equipment. Mm-hmm. But if it breaks down acetic acid, water, and so on, hydrogen peroxide, all this stuff is basically already in your beer.
Yep.
I mean, acetic acid is the most common fermentation byproduct. Whereas when you use a chlorine iodine-based sanitizer, you contribute something to the beer which naturally is not in there. So I'm a big fan of PA. I know that has a very pungent smell as the concentrate, but once
it's not fun. But I'm a big fan of PA as well. No. I'm a big fan of PA.
But it's a great sanitizer. I highly recommend it. And then, of course, we have all kinds of other products, for external cleaning, foam cleaners, caustic-based, acid-based to remove some water stains or get some mold gone, line loop for the conveyor system. We can do boiler treatment. We can do the pasteurizers, to run. It's a pretty complex topic, especially some of these zones of a pasteurizer are perfect incubating temperature. So you basically can breed whatever you want. Of course, you don't want this. So to run it optimized, we have, all the solutions for this, including automation and everything. So we can cover pretty well everything with chemicals in the brewery. If it's a cooling tower for a bigger brewery, we can make sure that all the stuff operates in proper conditions.
That's awesome. That's great. I'm a big fan of PA as well. I was part. My buddy Matt and I and a couple other people, we got a brewery up and running again at one point, and there was so much scale in the brew house. It was amazing, and I won't even mention the name of the brewery. The equipment's still being used, but I won't even mention the name of the brewery that had previously been there. And they were brewing beer in that with a lot of scale in there. So yeah, and it literally took.
You could taste it though.
It literally took probably a week and a half of constant CIP and just acid and everything, just to get down to what resembled no scale inside those.
Right. I mean, we had cases in the past where somebody tried to pour the spear of a keg and couldn't get out because the beer stone was so big it didn't fit through the opening anymore.
Oh God.
Or cases like when the HLT, because I would say that's probably the most neglected piece of equipment in the brew house.
100%.
Yep.
And then people open it after 3 years and found like stalactites, stalagmites, everything in there. You can think of multiple
For
inches.
those who don't know,
They put a miner's helmet on and went crawling
Exactly.
through the HLT. Right?
for those who don't know, the HLT is the hot liquor tank.
Hot liquor tank.
Oh,
Yes.
I'm sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
And then
No.
Once everything was taken out, the stainless steel, because if you have, the scale and the stainless steel in between, the chlorides from the water can harbor there and start working on the stainless steel. Basically that particular HLT was then so heavily damaged that it couldn't be rebuilt. It had to be replaced.
It had to be replaced. Yeah, no, that can happen. All right, so you neglect an HLT like that? Absolutely. It's going bye-bye. Get it out of there, bring a new one in.
Especially if you have hot water. Check it on a regular basis every other week. I always say start with a high frequency. If it sees it's not as bad, extend the time, but make sure you always have ideally a spray ball inside, so you can always run an acid cycle through it to remove all the stain. I mean, the beauty is it's hot, so it's not really a big problem from the biological side, but overall it's all the maintenance for your equipment itself.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All right, we'll talk more about that and at the very tail end of the podcast and how anybody can get in touch with Zee Loeffler and everything else, and we'll make that. But let's come back to Germany just for a second. Let's come back to beer. Let's go around the country a little bit. What are some of you personally? What are some of your more favorite styles? I mean, we know there's there's plenty of different German styles. Around the country.
There are a lot of them, yes.
There are a lot of them, and I have a few of my favorite styles globally are German beers, as you can imagine. But what are some of yours? We spoke obviously at length before about Berliner Weisses, but some others for you.
The time I lived in Munich, I was actually a big fan of classical Hefeweizen. I liked that. It was a flavorful beer, very interesting, bouquet because of its, the top fermenting yeast. Moving to Berlin, definitely switched more to Pilsner style beers.
Sure.
But we drank Köstritz as a beautiful Schwarzbier, which is just beautiful, well balanced.
Yes.
Was kind of redesigned after the wall came down, because Köstritz unfortunately was in East Germany, so they didn't have all the access to everything. But after the wall came down, they redid everything, and it's probably the best Schwarzbier.
Köstritzer Schwarzbier is probably at the top. It's at the top of my list.
Right.
And it might fluctuate one or two, but it's up there.
And even if it's not your favorite, it is the standard that every
standard
beer is measured after.
Right. I'm a big fan, very rarely, but I like it if, it's because it's so different with the salt and everything, is Gose, from Leipzig.
Oh, yes.
I love it. I love it.
Beer.
Absolutely.
Sometimes here in the States, you can see some Gose beer too. Sometimes they're a little bit too much, either too acidic or too salty.
Or too much flavoring added to it.
Or too,
right.
Fruited Goses, yeah.
It's a beautiful beer. From, let's say, when you mentioned Bamberg, definitely it's also a great beer town. They're famous for the Rauchbier. Schlenkele is probably the number one Rauchbier Brauerei.
I don't think probably should be in that sentence. I think they just are.
I think they are.
Yeah. And it's funny, they actually sell, through a window to the street. It's not even like you have to go inside or anything.
That window wasn't open when we were there, though. Everyone had to go inside.
Did you have a big problem with that, though?
Well, no, because we actually sat down and had the Bamberg onion. Well, Carrie did, and I had the what's the name of the cheese?
Ubatsta?
Ubatsta, yes.
Ubatsta,
okay.
Very good.
That's good. And then, in Bamberg they also have, they have the different, less bitter beers. So it's a really a nice area with a large variety of beers, and of course you have in this area all the very high-end malting. One of the major raw materials.
Sure.
Everybody knows Weiermann. I can
Yeah,
highly recommend.
If you take the train there and you're standing on the platform, it's right there.
Exactly.
It's right there.
And it's the beautiful red and yellow color definitely, contributes to that.
That's one thing I want to, in Bamberg. Yeah, I want to. I mean, those are the two main things I want to visit.
So if you have ever seen any malting facility, and then you go to Weiermann, it's not a night and day difference. It's a difference of multiple galaxies in between.
I was going to say, it's not night and day. It's night and apples difference.
Unbelievable. It's, if you know the family, Thomas, Sabine, and Franziska, they know how to present. They know how to, celebrate. It's a complete different world.
Yeah, that's one place that's definitely on the list. Just may not have as good a time there as I certainly will, but definitely have to.
We had, when I was an assistant professor, we did field trips with students, and we went to different breweries, different, equipment manufacturers, and all the Weiermann. And they always take care of you, great dinner, and then afterwards drinking, and it's unbelievable.
That's on my list.
But that is basically another nice Pilsner is in Baden-Württemberg, in Swabia, Rothaus.
Holthaus, yeah.
Very
good.
Tannenzäpfle. That's like one of my favorite ones. It's like one of the other breweries we're going to start, of my 3 breweries. It's actually a state-owned brewery. So the state of Baden-Württemberg owns that brewery. Yes. So, and the beers they make is phenomenal. Really great. And you can get a lot of Tannenzäpfle actually in Berlin. So we had them very often.
You gotta love it. There you go. I'm gonna take it back to Gozes just for a second. One thing we've noticed, and I just had one the other day. I won't mention the brewery, but using we've noticed a lot of Gozes for that salinity in it. They've been using shellfish, either clams or oyster shells or what have you. And one I had the other day was actually, I believe, there were oyster shells and oysters added to the boil. So it had a little bit of a mouthfeel, almost like an oyster stout, but in the form of a goza. But it was more for the salinity, not so much for the mouthfeel.
Right.
I have my take on it. I'm curious yours.
I had the pleasure to in New Hampshire to test or try and drink the lobster beer, where they actually use lobster in the bird, kettle. And if it's really fresh made, I liked it because you get a hint of the flavor. It's not like the dominance of it. I was told by one of the employees many years later that they had one of these kegs forgotten someplace, and then when they tapped it in a couple of months later, the intensity of the lobster or the fish, whatever, was very high. It's like if you would have walked over a French fish market with your open mouth, So,
oh my God.
But I really enjoyed it because, not that particular one, but you had the beer character and you had a very well-balanced dosage of this, the lobster, or when you say oyster. So you get this intensity to that degree that it's not overwhelming you. Right. And it's enjoyable. I loved it.
Yeah, I've had several. The oyster one I had the other day was a little too, to use a word that's not a word, oystery for me. If they just went with the shells, I think that would have been spot on. The adding the oysters to the boil was just a little too.
Well, Digger's one of my. I love Digger.
Digger's very good. He uses clam shells.
He uses clam shells in it. And I love what the shells do because they have that calcium to give that, it rounds out the mouthfeel on it as well. It's why I like oyster stout so much.
Right.
Even within oysters, there are so many different ones from the southern part, South Carolina, all the way up to Canada. There are all the big differences in the intensity and the mouthfeel and so on and on. And I'm more a personal fan of the more northern, the smaller ones, which have more the grindiness in it.
Yes.
Beautiful.
As am I. I am too.
Yeah.
So, all right. I am opening my my third beer.
My third is
wow.
opened and poured.
Opened and poured. Ollie, you have you opened another Pilsner? Have you?
I had another Pilsner on it, and I'm enjoying it. I'm not downing it, I have to admit. I love it because I enjoy the show.
Exactly.
Well,
Exactly.
Johnny will tell you, this is drinking slow for me.
This is drinking slow. I'm taking my time and enjoying. I mean, these are both 11.2 ounce bottles, and that's not true. The Optimator is a 12 ounce bottle. The Maximator was an 11.2 ounce bottle.
Yeah, these are 11.2s. We're used to drinking 16s.
We usually drink. We usually drink 3 beers, and maybe they're lower ABV, but they're 16 ounce beers. So I mean, we're in line. We're fine.
Yeah.
Right.
Dave, what's your third beer?
It's 11. It's another 11.2 ounce beer, but since you're drinking Doppelbocks, I went with a Doppelbock. I've got the Hofbrau.
Delicato, nice.
So this is to go in with Oliver's background there. And I do really, really enjoy this beer. I actually bought this beer. This beer has been I've had this beer for a little bit because I actually bought it for last year's holiday show.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
And I love Doppelbocks. They can sit for a little bit.
Sure, they can.
They'll be fine. And I actually find that the flavors meld together as it sits. John's having a nosegasm right now.
Sorry about that.
Spelling his third beer. People on the audio, you consider yourself so lucky to not have seen that.
There you go. I spoke too soon with the 11.2 ounce beers because this beer is a 500 milliliter bottle.
Yes.
So,
it's like Schlenkerlas are a little larger.
16.9 ounces. Yes.
That's true. No, actually, I did an internship at Hofbrauhaus, a year after they opened the new brewing facility, in the eastern part of Munich.
Sure.
And those days it was considered the most modern brewery in the world. It was a really nice brewery. I had a lot of fun there. And the beers are really absolutely perfect.
Now you said you studied at Weihenstephaner, right?
Yeah.
I was told something by our tour guide. When we went, it was the English tour, so of course the guy was from Pennsylvania, and he was telling us because right across from where the tour starts is the Braustäbel, their restaurant, and he says if you notice on the wall there's a number, and that number is a classroom number. That 13. The Braustäbel is actually a classroom. And a lot of times when people say, well, where's your next class? They'll give the number for the Braustäbel, but they don't really have a class. They're just going there to get a drink.
Right.
That happened while you were there?
It's called Hörsaal, which is basically the German word in the university for classroom.
Yep.
And 13, and everybody, when he said, let's go to Hörsaal 13, then everybody knew where to go.
Where to go?
But he said they actually every now and then do have lectures there. So it actually is a classroom occasionally.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure he wasn't making stuff up.
Honestly. No, he apparently wasn't. There you go. Right. So
I've got a picture of him somewhere.
My third beer, yes, holding a good can of beer.
Yeah, your beer.
My beer, yeah. My hef that we brewed, and we I'll tell you later. I'll tell you outside. But anyway, my third beer, the nosegasm I was having, as Dave so eloquently put it before, is from
add that to our lexicon of words.
I just actually have to type that in there now. Yeah, so was from Bamberg, and it's from Schlenkerla, and it is the Doppelbock, smoked Doppelbock. So the Rauch beer Doppelbock, and this is a beer that generally, I mean, maybe you and I have on the show maybe once during the year, but obviously, once other than the main show during the year. And then in January, we actually do a Rauch beer show.
Nice.
We drink nothing but Rauch beers on that show with John Hall, the beer writer, who is the originator of This Week in Rauch Beer.
Actually, I like the Eiche, the oak tree. I think or I feel that the smokiness from the oak tree is more balanced, a little bit smoother.
The oak
Yeah,
smoke is definitely balanced more.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely agree.
Oh, it's because you're saying it's because of the oak. I always thought it was because of the style of beer they used
Yeah.
for it.
No, it's if
It's
I
the
mean that
oak.
was my impression when I mean I drank both, but I always had the feeling that the oak version is smoother and it's not so scratchy like some of the other, when they overdo it with the smoked beers and it gets really scratchy.
Mhm.
Or
Yeah.
same when you do, when you overdo smoked food too, same situation.
Yeah.
But with the oak, my feeling was always I preferred that because it was a much more balanced and smoother flavor.
This is
Yeah, I've always found the Meritzen to be a little too smoky for me.
Meritzen or the Urbach. They're
Yeah,
a bit
the
out.
Urbach as well.
They're a bit out in front, which I'm fine with, by the way.
Yeah.
But to Ollie's point, yes, it's definitely a little. You feel it in the throat, so to speak, right?
Yeah,
But,
exactly.
um,
Exactly.
But I'm a big proponent of all things smoke, so that's fine. But
As we both
but
are.
you're 100% the oak. It's super smooth. It's
Yeah,
nice
I
and
love it.
smoky. The aroma is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean it's a glass of bacon basically, right?
Oh, absolutely.
And
Yeah.
but it's super smooth. And the Doppelbock, just the oak smoke with the Doppelbock is so subtly smooth, and it's a beautiful mouthfeel.
I'm gonna have to correct my statement. The Meritzen, when you get the Meritzen here after it's traveled and all that, I think I think it almost intensifies the smoke a little bit after that travel, after that, because, and I'm not saying John's going to accuse me of saying this for bragging, but when we were in Bamberg at Schlenkerla, they were pouring the Meritzen off cask, and that was beautiful.
Oh, of course, and it's fresh
It's-
and it's in a cask as well.
And I think
So,
that's what it is. It was fresh, so I think so. I'm not blaming it as the Martzen, maybe just because it's been, the travel and
Well, you have to remember too,
Living
it's traveling, but it's traveling in two different ways too, right? Because specifically speaking about Schlenkerla, it's traveling packaged in a 500 milliliter bottle.
Yep.
It's also traveling packaged in a tote, a large, very large tote, and it's going to the importer, which is Be United, which we know because Mike Dolan has been on the show, and at Be United is family with OEC Brewing up in Connecticut, and any cans of Schlenkerla, any 16-ounce cans of Schlenkerla you get, they were canned off of the tote in Connecticut. So obviously the beer's brewed in Bamberg, but it comes here via a tote on a ship, and then they can it here. So there's definitely a difference between what's put in a bottle, and it's not good or bad, it's just a difference, right?
I mean, in a perfect world you want to have that in a refrigerated tank,
of course,
like a container type tank, but with refrigeration.
And John, speak of the devil, and he shall comment.
And did I look at that. Mike Dolan, how are you, Mike? There you go. Try the Weichsel. The cherry smoke is the most delicate of the entire lineup. He's not wrong. That
I've not had the Weichsel.
It is. The Weichsel is it's delicious, and as delicate and as smooth as the Doppelbock is. He's absolutely right. The Weichsel is very, 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 very delicate. Mike, to your point, you can speak if you want via a comment based on what I was just saying as far as the canning procedures, but and everything is climate controlled, obviously, I'm sure, to some extent, but because the beer is all delicious, even the ones in the cans.
Absolutely.
Because they just did, Ollie, I don't know if you, sorry about that. I don't know if you had any, but they just did a Grodziskie. Schlenkerla did a Polish beer.
Oh, nice.
Yes, actually, I think that's the Schlenkerla I've got in the fridge.
I think you might have it because you bought it. You bought it.
Yes, the Grodziskie.
Yeah. And which it was fantastic. It was fantastic. But that was not in bottles at all. It was just, it came here via the tote and it was canned up in Connecticut. But it was fantastic. It was delicious. But to Mike's point, he's not wrong. That Weichsel is so smooth. But, anyway, so there you go. So that's what I'm drinking. So now I drank 3 Doppelbocks.
I'm drinking one.
You're drinking one. Why could we? What possible reason could we have for drinking Doppelbocks tonight?
Because it's National chocolate chip cookie day.
Oh, that's why. Silly me.
Mm.
I should have known that. No, it's because well, not only because Dave needed another chocolate chip cookie. That's all he did on that one. So, our top 3 list tonight, and we're doing it a little bit earlier in the show for a reason. You'll see why.
Usually Harbinger is the end of the show, but
not so much tonight. Not necessarily tonight. Hold on, we just have another comment. Mike Dolan just said the cans are 100% unfiltered. 90% of the bottles are filtered. So there you go.
Interesting.
And he says the unfiltered tends to have more taste and aroma. So there you go. So that being said, you might want to look for the 16-ounce cans or 16-ounce 4-packs if you are so fortunate to find a provider, if you will, a store that is not selling them as singles and selling them as 4-packs. But in any event, there you go. The cans are 100% unfiltered, and 90% of the bottles are filtered. So there you go. Mike, if you can let us know which 10% of the bottles are unfiltered, just so we can pass that along to people, that would be fantastic. But back to our top 3s. We'll get back to that in a moment. Back to our top 3 list. Our top 3 list tonight, while we're doing it a little bit earlier, because we're going to have a little bit of an education, a backstory, a little bit of history after the fact. But our top 3 list tonight is top 3 favorite Doppelbocks brewed in Germany. Top 3 favorite Doppelbocks brewed in Germany. I'm going to go out on a limb, and Ollie, tell me if I'm right or wrong. I honestly am just guessing here. But I'm going to say that there's probably more Doppelbocks, or have been more different Doppelbocks brewed outside of Germany than inside of Germany, because the Germany brewed Doppelbocks, they brew one, they keep brewing that one, right?
True. Yes.
In the U.S., we brew one, and hey, we're going to change the recipe up, and we're going to brew another one, and then we'll brew another one.
Yeah,
one brewery might brew 19 different.
There's a brewery. So. There's actually a brewery that we're friends with that have at least 4 Doppelbocks that I can name.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So
here we go.
There you go. So that's my point. But tonight we're focusing on Doppelbocks brewed in Germany. Top 3 favorite Doppelbocks brewed in Germany. Ollie, please. Get us going. Give us your 3, 2, 1.
All right. So the first one was Corbian. Quite often you see that the name refers to a monastery. Mostly the monastery started brewing Doppelbocks. The beauty about the monks, although, was that they were the first ones who actually kind of looked deeper into brewing beer. So they were basically the first brewing scientists to make sure how beer is brewed. Sure. And then, of course, everybody knows that during Lent, when they couldn't really eat solid food, they wanted an alternative, and that's why they liked the Bock or Doppelbock beers, a stronger beer.
Sure.
I picked 3 because I think, first of all, Weinstefaner is a very famous brewery. It's the oldest brewery in the world. In 14 years, this brewery will be 1,000 years old.
And I will definitely be there, as will Dave.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're going, we'll go together. We'll meet there together and have a couple beers.
Yes. It's a state-owned brewery owned by the state of Bavaria. Mm-hmm. And it has a very famous reputation, although the brewing school next to it. So Weinstefaner is you can't go wrong anything with that. No. The other one, which I would always consider the second oldest brewery, Weltenburg. It's right at the Danube, where the Danube has a very tight, it goes through some rocks. It's a very tight spot there. Mm-hmm. And they call it Asambock. Do you know where the word Asam comes from, or the name?
No.
Okay, so Asam is actually 2 brothers. Some people say it's architects, designers. But they were very Catholic and designed the church of the monastery of Weltenburg. And although when you go to Munich next year, in the Sendlinger Straße is a church. From the outside, it basically just is like all the other houses, same kind of front. But once you walk in, it's the Baroque type Rococo style, super loaded, super colorful, very beautiful.
Is this the one that's really, 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 really dark on the inside?
It's kind of dark inside, yes.
It's just up the road from Schneider.
Yes.
That is a beautiful church. Absolutely.
It's beautiful, and it's called Asam Kirche, Asam Church, because named after the 2 brothers.
Okay.
And they also did this in Weltenburg. Beautiful brewery. I had the pleasure to be there with my students one day. And, they really chiseled into the rocks, the cellars, there's no straight wall, they're chiseled until the tank stop chiseling. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. And the whole area is just gorgeous. And then last but not least, Salvator, another kind of a holy name. Most of these beers I now have this Tor at the end, is Doppelbock names. It's Paulaner, a famous brewery out of Munich, one of the 6 big Munich breweries, which are all allowed to be serving beer at the Oktoberfest. It's also a very hot topic. Who's allowed to serve beer on the Oktoberfest? The brewhouse has to be on the Munich soil.
Sure.
There's always discussions going on. Shall we open up the gates to other breweries? No. So I think that will stay.
Because I know that Giesinger is made quite a show. And
Yes.
they're really, really pushing for it. And there's some people who feel that they will eventually be allowed in, but they would have to waive the 100-year rule for them to get in, would they not?
It's not easy, and I think it's a very old, well-established business, and of course nobody wants to give up. I mean, those who have been there, every year there's about 7 million liters, 7 million steins being sold in 16 days. So it's a busy time, when you work in a Munich brewery, in July, August, when they prep all the beers for Oktoberfest. It's a very tough work.
There you go.
Because it's basically,
Salvatore,
and then
it's a delicious beer too, and they're all ours. So.
and then Agostino still brings in the beer in wooden barrels called Hirschen, 200 liters, whereas everybody else has a big tank system with huge pipeline systems. And after 11 o'clock at night, when everything closed down, the tankers just commute back and forth between the brewery and the Oktoberfest to top them off.
Right.
Nice.
There you go.
Yeah, that was one of, when I started in the brewing industry, 89 and 1990, I was working for the Hofbrauhaus, doing, the breaks of studying, and I was helping preparing everything for the Oktoberfest.
That's beautiful. I love
cleaning
it.
the tanks and everything. So it was fun. It was real fun.
I love it. All right, we're going to do something different tonight. Hold that thought, Ollie, because we're going to come back to you after Dave and I go for some interesting.
But last week, John and I got into a little bit of a spat.
Tiff. Let's call it a tiff. We'll call it a tiff. There you go.
Where John was getting mad at me because I kept taking his top 3.
Last week, my entire top 3 was Dave's top 3. I had to change on the fly.
I stole, and I keep telling him, why do you need to change? Why can't we both enjoy the same top 3?
He's right.
But John likes to be different and sometimes difficult. And so I accused him of it's your fault for always having to go last, so you have the final
6
word.
years I've been going last on the top 3.
That's because he likes to have the final word.
No, it's not that.
That's what
Honestly,
I accused him of. But that's what I accused you of.
That's what he accuses me of. But honestly, it's 100% because I like to have everybody else go, and then and Dave will honestly
he's trying to be polite.
No, I am. And Dave will honestly, he can't deny this. When the guest or guests, whoever we have here, do theirs, and there's a little bit of backstory, and there's a little bit of a discussion and dialogue about it, and then Dave gives his, and the same thing. When I give mine, I usually just 3, 2, 1. I'm calling it a day, and then we move on, and that's that.
Well, he'll alter his top,
and I will
3.
alter mine based on
if someone stole something from him, he'll make it as an honorable mention instead, which I still think that's bullshit too. I think you should just go with your top 3.
Just go with my top 3. No, you're not wrong. Hold that thought really quick. Mike, I'm saying this for a reason. You'll see why in a second. He says, Schlenkerler releases an unfiltered Krausen in bottles, maybe once a year in 500 ml bottles. That's the unfiltered one.
Well, unfortunately, puppy's eyes are yellow.
Gotta walk the dog. Enjoy the night. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it.
Thanks,
Mike, if you're still listening, I'm going to call you tomorrow. I do have to discuss a couple things with you. So I'll give you a buzz mid-morning tomorrow. So hopefully that's okay. So there you go.
So, John, what are your top 3?
I'm going to go before Dave tonight. And it's probably going to switch back next week. But I'm going to go before Dave.
I think we should switch them every week.
Maybe we'll go back and forth. How's that?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I said. We should just
there you go.
back and forth. Yeah.
Because I'm not 2 weeks from tonight. I'm not going to give you a top 3.
No, because you're not going to be on the show.
I'll be on the show for 10 minutes.
Yeah, at the beginning.
Yeah. So anyway, my top 3 is this. I have one honorable mention, and then we'll move on. All right. My honorable mention is indeed one that I had tonight, Spaten Optimator.
Yeah.
Right there. It's a delicious beer. It's fantastic. I look forward to having that beer at Spaten next year. So there you go. My number 3 is Tucker Badgervator.
Tuker's a good one.
Tucker Badgervator is delicious, and it's a holiday-esque. You know, when it comes out later in the year, it's not a year-round kind of a thing. At least here, you know, it's shipped over in the States, but that's my number 3. My number 2, I'm not giving too much. I'm doing the same thing as I normally do, Dave. So there you go. My number 2 is Einbecker, their Winterbock. Such a good Doppelbock.
That's a yummy beer.
That beer. I almost had one of them tonight, but I chose to, and it would have been what I'm drinking right now. But I really wanted to drink this, so that's why.
Nice, yeah.
So there you go. So I do have 2 bottles left of last year's Winterbock. So I will enjoy them soon. I'll enjoy one of them soon. I'll probably have the other one when I get a fresh 6-pack this year. So anyway, and my my number 1 is Andexer, their Doppelbock.
Oh, perfect. Yes, another monastery. Yeah.
Yeah, Andexer. Look, anything. Their Doppelbock, their Dunkel, their Helles. Oh, I love Andexer beers, and unfortunately, for the last 4 years, 4 years, we have not been able to get them in New Jersey.
Yeah,
they're available in New York.
after Hunterdon folded.
After Hunterdon, the distributor in New Jersey that did have them, the Bud distributor did take them and then stop carrying them, which is not unlikely. Is not unlike their distribution arm, but it's still available in New York, so I can get some every now and then when I get into upstate New York or the city to pick up some beer. I was just in the city. I was in Queens on Saturday and in Manhattan last night, but it had nothing to do with beer. So there you go. Other than what
If you want, I mean, when you go to Munich next year, it's a train ride from Munich to go to Andex. A lot of people do this. It's on the weekends. It's very busy, but it's all the beautiful brewery sitting like on a little hill. Highly recommendable.
You know what? You're not wrong. I'll add that on there too.
Isn't they're not that far from I'm not going to say it right. Neuschwanstein Castle.
It's getting this same. It's getting this direction south. Yes.
Yeah.
So if you're going further south, then you go to Füssen. That's where.
If you want to see Cinderella's castle,
That's
rent a car and hit both of them.
All right, fair enough. All right, so those are my top 3s. Dave,
Beautiful choice.
Thank you very much.
I'm going to start with a dishonorable mention.
Dishonorable mention.
And this is one of the.
By the way, we've never done this on the show before.
This is it, but this is a triple bock, and this is a triple bock that we. I'm sorry, it's a triple bock, not a Doppelbock, that was brewed outside of Germany. It's brewed in Lithuania by a brewery called Rinkuskaya, and it's called Before After, and I think it is one of the most awful things I've ever drank. It was just this side, I think, of cleaning fluid. I think I checked it in as the Thunderbird of beer.
Thunderbird of beer. Cool.
Oh, it was so.
I mean, honestly, all you need to say is that and move on.
It was. Oh my God! You probably could have cleaned your painting brushes with it. Just say it.
Well, what is the ABV on that?
I don't even remember, but it was I could look it up, but it was awful.
I'll look it up while you give your.
There you go. I do have an honorable mention, and I actually had 2 honorable mentions. One was the Andexer.
Yeah.
My other honorable mention was Ottenbach. Ottenbach, just loved that beer. What I loved about that one was it's nice and chocolatey. There's a nice chocolate flavor to that. And with the Andexer, what I liked about that one is it's one of the Doppelbocks that is a little lower in phenols than the others, I found. So it's a little smoother for me. But for number 3, I'm going to go with the one that, in the place that I lived, almost every place I could hang a little goat, I would hang a little goat. Because you get the 4-pack of this beer and it came with a little plastic goat. hanging off of every bottle, and that's Celebrator. Celebrator, whereas it's not one of my major favorites, it's probably the Doppelbock that most Americans first had to bring them into drinking Doppelbocks, because you could get it in so many places.
I apologize to you. I was looking up. It's Rinkuskaya.
Rinkuskaya.
Rinkuskaya in Lithuania, before or after Triple Bock. It's a 12%. Ali, what was the question you asked him? That
You won the ABV. 12%.
ABV.
12%. It's 12%.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
The highest rating on Untapped, obviously, and obviously this is not a beer judge score.
Right.
This is obviously aggregated beer drinkers score.
Yes.
Is in the 2s out of 5.
That's how bad this is.
Ooh, yeah. Okay.
I think
It's not good. Yeah.
I gave it a 1.
So what was your what was the beer again? I'm sorry, I apologize. I
just had the 2 honorable mentions on the
on
Decker and Autumn.
Autumn, okay.
Yes. Number 3 though was Celebrator.
Okay.
Ainger. Yeah. Beautiful beer.
You know, I'm a fan of Ainger, as you can tell. My number 2, Corbinian, Finest of Honors Corbinian.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely, just that beer. When we were there, we're taking the tour at the end. They're doing a tasting. We have our little tasting glasses. They're sitting right over there. They're actually in real glass, which was, I thought, very interesting. That you have this beautiful little glass, and it's like, so. You know, I brought a lot of stuff home from Germany, and if one of these got broken, I would have been really upset about it. But I'm just watching as they're pouring these, and I can see the bucket that they've got and what's coming up. And I'm like, can we just get to the Corbinian? Just get to the Corbinian. But my number 1 is the Tucker, Bajavader. I love, and you know, John's mentioned that it's kind of like more of we treat it as kind of like a holiday beer here. As we do this, we treat this as a holiday beer.
Yeah, I mean, I just had a Delicator on the Christmas in July show.
Right.
I had that, and then but the Delicator, the Einbecker Winterbach, the Tuger Bajavader, they're all beers that we get here in late October, early November. They last through January, and that's it.
But the Tucker, you know, talking about that being a holiday beer, it's funny that you mentioned that, because I find like it has almost a figgy flavor to it. You know, that dark fruit.
It's got dark fruit and chocolate to it. So it's
and also you know, clove-like phenols to it. So to me, it's very much that's a nice holiday flavored beer for me.
Yes, it is. All right, there you have it. Those are our top 3s. Now, we did this tonight a little earlier, and as we did tonight,
because we are going to unleash Oliver on.
We are going to unleash Ollie, and he's going to let us know a little bit of the backstory about Doppelbocks. Please, Ollie, have the floor.
And I when you told me he was going to do this, like, I'm really looking forward to this.
I'm picking up my chocolate chip cookies.
Yep.
And I'm sitting back and listening.
All right. So, I mean, we have a clear definition in Germany for Bock and Doppelbock. So to call it a Bock beer, you need to have at least 16% Play-Doh. If you go to Doppelbock, it has to be 18% Play-Doh. Mm-hmm. And funny enough, even the majority of the strong beers, Doppelbocks, box beers, are now brewed in Bavaria. Mm-hmm. The origin is, and you mentioned the name already, it's Einbeck. You know, it's a town close to Hanover in Lower Saxony. And there's Einbecker Brauhaus, and that's where originally the Bock beer comes from. And then, you know, that's why we call it Starkbierfest. So in May we have a lot of events with Bock beers and Starkbier, which is strong beer. Funny enough, the Bavarian imported a lot of Bock beer for the monastery, you know, for land to have, you know, a substitute for solid food. And after a while, the king said, that's expensive, you know, bring all this beer here. You know, let's have our breweries, you know, give them the permission to brew those. So, like I said, the the Brownness Hofbrauhaus, which is basically had its origin right where the Hofbrauhaus is now today. And then there's the Weisses Hofbrauhaus, which is focused on a wheat beer, a Doppelbock. And then they started brewing there the beers. And as a specific uniqueness, I'm sure you have heard about Eisbock. The thing is, so there is a little bit of a fable out about how that had happened. So one day in the wintertime, it was really, really cold. The apprentice forgot to bring all the big wooden cask inside, and overnight it froze. So, and the ice grew. Some of the barrels actually popped and broke. But you could see inside of the ice still a dark liquid. So the unhappiness of the brewmaster, and to punish this poor little apprentice, he said, you have to chisel it open and you have to drink out all the liquid inside as a punishment. And so he started doing it and said, Master, this is really good stuff. So he tried it, and basically in Germany, according to the purity law, increase the gravity, increase the ABV is by freezing it out. So, and there is always a competition, who gets the strongest beers, by multiple times freezing it out, going up to, 43%, 57. So there's always a little competition. I mean, we had this, we actually had to certify one of these really, really strong beers at our institute one day. And it's not a pleasure. It's just, maybe an ego trip or a competition who makes the strongest beer in regards of alcohol. But from the flavor perspective, we are really, really far away from a real beer. So,
no, very far. On to your point on that, I just grabbed this off the shelf. We bought these 5 years ago. Brewdog in Scotland made an Eisbock, and they called it Strength in Numbers. It was a 57.8% Eisbock. So, and it came in. This is a 57.8%. This is a 1.4 ounce bottle. Swing top, waxed, 1.4 ounce.
Smallest swing top I've ever seen.
I know, right? So.
Probably, although it's you really have to tell people that it is still a beer, otherwise you would never notice that in quotation marks.
What I want to point out is when Oliver first mentioned that the beer froze, the first time that he used the word froze, for a brief second his Wi-Fi froze, and it's that's the first time it froze the whole show. So I just thought that was interesting. So so if you're you missed it if you're just listening to the audio, but if you're on the video, hopefully you
right.
Exactly. And everybody missed it too before we started the show. We had a couple of technical glitches, which is why I started a little late. Ollie was Max Headroom, and I actually was I was part interested in letting the show proceed that way because that would have made for amazing video.
The audio was perfect, though.
The audio was perfect, but this was fantastic. But anyway, so continue. I'm sorry.
So basically nowadays, the Doppelbock is also in charge, the Starkbierfest. We all know we have 4 seasons, spring, summer, fall, and winter. Bavaria has additional seasons. So the Starkbierfest is an additional season in May. That's like famous is when they Nockerberg, when they basically top the cask there. So it's a celebration, and like I said, it was originated from the Lent time. It is not a very high volume beer, but it has specific character. It's used for certain times, especially in the winter time. Like I said, nowadays you can get the beers like November, December. Mostly they have more this chocolatey flavors, not those focused on the hops and everything, dark. So, and although what you said, that David, that the chocolate flavors and the Glover and all this kind of stuff, contributes quite a bit to this Christmas feeling. So these are really good beers for that time. And I mean, it's not a beer which you drink like in large volumes because, they really knock out your knee disc after a few beers. But it has a certain character. It contributes a certain history.
A few beers.
Yes. and I think it's other very important, classical cultural, part of the southern German breweries. Um, no, it's a very fun part to do it, and like I said, it comes in a pale color, it comes in dark colors. You can get it as a wheat beer, you can get it as a regular beer, sometimes flavored, sometimes smoked, and so on. Whatever the purity law allows you to do. But it's a nice, small, niche style of beers with a lot of history, a lot of culture, and a lot of character.
Now, the word Bach, that means goat. Gold?
Yes, it is actually, and it has nothing to do with this. So some people say it comes when ein Beck, that there's maybe a little bit of from the Bock beer, because it's basically just you substitute the E with an O.
Right.
But there are, like I said, there's so many different stories out about beer, which haven't really been 100% verified. In the old days,
Right.
people didn't really document things so heavily, but many terms over centuries, changed a little bit. And once the Bock beer was established, but it has nothing to do with the goat. Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
Well, but that's the other thing too, because last show or last couple shows, somebody mentioned a Scheisenbach, and I don't think I want any part of that beer.
But this country, we really lean into that goat thing, because we have Bach festivals where they race goats.
Right.
And there's one in Pennsylvania, and Weyerbacher would win every year, and then win with a 3-legged goat.
Oh, wow.
That 3-legged goat beat every other goat.
Yeah.
So less weight to carry, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
Not wrong. I got a question for you. That was fantastic, by the way. I thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're welcome. Yeah.
That's going to be a separate reel. I'm not even kidding. That's going to be a separate reel and a separate audio clip. Anybody that wants to learn a little bit of back history about Doppelbocks, that was fantastic. Thank you so much for that, Ollie.
And Icebox.
And Icebox, yeah. But on that note, I'm going to go back to your to the Weltenberg, the Adams beer, the Adams Bach. There's another style, it's Adams beer. Now it's an Adams Bach, but it was made. I don't want to say famous. Obviously, it's not really made famous, but it was perpetuated in the U.S. by a brewery that just closed not too long ago, and that was up in Portland, Oregon, and that was Hair of the Dog Brewing, and they brewed Adam. They brewed Adam, right?
Yeah.
And then they had a barrel aged in cherry wood, cherry Adam from the wood.
Yeah.
So forth. It was an Adams beer, right? So is there a difference between Adams beer and an Adams Bach?
Oh, keep in mind when we and the back
and obviously all the there's a lot of
the barrel aging. When you refer to barrel aging, we don't really do this in.
I just meant
ignore the barrel aged one.
Just the barrel aged one. Just the regular Adams beer. I'm assuming. I always assumed that it was an Adam Bach, right? The Weltenberg Adam Bach. That's the beer they brewed. So it's a Doppelbock, right? And then anybody that brewed, because I've had several Adams beers, if you will. Obviously, cherry Adam from the wood, different barrel aged versions of that from Hair of the Dog, but also I just had one recently from what the hell's the name of the brewery? I think they're in. I'll think of it. Another one. I got it from Tibor. Had on the show. I have another can of it.
I think we had the same one.
Yeah, that was an Adams beer as well. But to me, it was a Bach. To me, it was a Doppelbock, right? So that's where I was kind of going with this. It's not necessarily another beer style. It's just a riff, if you will, version of specifically the Adam Bach from
right. Yeah.
So anyway,
no, but it's like we do a lot of here in the States with the barrel aging. We also create, and like you said, sometimes it's more like a Doppelbock. You increase the ABV, you add flavor to it. Not coming from the different malts, but maybe from whatever the wood was or what was actually stored in the wood or in the wooden barrel. And I think because when you have the wooden barrels in Germany, they're all basically covered its pitch, so there's no contribution in regards of flavor to that.
Right. I got it. I just pulled this up. It's and again, I always took it as it was a riff, if you will, or however you want to look at it, as on the Adambach from Weltenberg. But it's basically any information that was pulled up. It's basically a strong dark ale. It originated in Dortmund. But I don't know if I buy that. I think it's a riff on it because they're very close. And Dave, you specifically speaking of the Weltenberg Adambach, right? Think about the and not the barrel aging end of things that we got when we bought the hair of the dog inventory, but that Adambach we had from Adam Beer that we had from that other brewery. I can't think of the name. I just tried to look.
It was Bombastic.
Bombastic. That's what it was.
Yeah, it was a beer called Business.
It was like 14% too, right?
It is 14%. Yes.
Yeah.
To me, there was a difference between a Doppelbock and an Adams beer,
but specifically the Weltenberg Adambach.
Yes, specifically that one. They're both chocolatey, right? There's a high amount of chocolate malts in both of them, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I find though that the Adams beer is a little, let's say, thinner in body.
Okay.
And I find it. The ABV is higher, so I also felt them hotter.
You also have to remember too, any of the Adam. I've never had an Adam beer from Germany.
Yes,
I've
these
had
are all American Adams.
U.S. brewed Adam beers. So.
Because the other Adams beer that I had was from Crooked Stave.
Right. There you go.
So I've never had a German Adams beer because I don't think we ever got I've never seen an Adams beer from Germany on a shelf here.
I haven't either.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just thinking, and nothing pops up in my mind right now. So
it's got to be a very, very, very seldom.
Yeah.
So
you have to forgive us.
I'd love to. Yeah. I was actually trying to find that out, but I've always thought specifically that it was a riff or a derivative, if you will, of specifically Adambach from Weltenberg. I've always thought that.
Which would make sense because all my tasting notes of all the Doppelbocks, the one that I listed as the most chocolatey was that Adams Bach, and Adams beers that we've had, the American brewed ones, being the only ones.
They're thinner.
They're quite chocolatey in flavor. So it's possible.
On that note, too, just to go back to what you were talking about as far as the Doppelbocks and the Icebox go, this cap I'm wearing, Ramstein. I'm not sure if you know Greg Siccardi up in Ramstein in Butler, New Jersey, but he's probably one of the more prominent German brewers. Him and
despite the fact that he's Italian.
Right, and as well as Gretchen Schmidhausler, who's not Italian.
Very German name.
Yes.
Yeah, she's very German.
Very German. But Greg does every year. He brews his winter wheat, so it's a wheat Doppelbock. So it's a Weizenbock,
nice.
And he brews that. That's a release October, November. For the winter wheat.
Right.
And Brian Boak, who was mentioned earlier on the show, will have a keg of it.
Always gets a keg of it at his house, right? So,
ooh, nice.
But he's
a sixtel,
yeah. So, but in any event, Greg takes a certain amount of his winter wheat and he freezes it, and in February he has an Icebox day.
Nice.
And it's a fantastic beer. He does it very well.
And the best part of it is the parking lot turns into a demolition derby after the event. It's awesome.
Nice.
That's why I park out on the street.
Not this car, please.
Uber there. True.
Yeah.
Trust me.
I mean, if you do it on a, let's say on a moderate version with the freezing out or the ice box, I think you can create a beautiful strong beer. But if you overdo it, like 57, 62%,
that's ridiculous.
No, he doesn't get that high. He definitely does not get that high.
No, his is.
He gets up to about 16.
I can tell it's in the teens. Yeah, I can tell you right now.
That's perfect. Yeah.
I'm gonna look right now.
John is looking. He's going through. He already has Untapped loaded on his phone, so
It's
he might as well
loaded,
go there because it'd be nice and quick to do it that way, rather than going and then trying to figure out Google's AI.
Yeah, the last one I had was 10. He only did 10%.
Only the 10.
Only
Interesting.
10. The most recent one he did was 16%.
Yeah, so that's the one I remember.
Which is nice that he takes he uses a ZOM and takes a
reading
an ABV reading every year. He just doesn't keep the same one, but yeah. So the last one I had was 10%. The last one he did was 16. So there you go.
Not bad.
Yeah, and it's delicious. He does it due diligence. He does.
You're right.
He does it very well. Greg is a very adept
Talented
German brewer. Yes, very good. Greg's correct.
and he has a nice Oktoberfest celebration.
It's a very nice Oktoberfest celebration. We were there last year, the year before we were there.
Last year.
Was it last year?
Just last year. Yeah.
Was it last year? Right.
I do want to point out something. I'm sorry for the people that are audio only, but I really think Iyengar has some of the most beautiful bottle caps.
Iyengar definitely does have
beautiful. Yes.
Yeah. Just love the bottle cap.
And maybe you notice if you look at all these churches, although from the monastery, they all have this kind of onion-shaped roof on the tower.
Yeah.
So that's a beautiful. And if you go to Iyengar, it's a small little village, but it's gorgeous.
Yeah. Usually, what I like to do when I travel in Europe is I like to have a car, so I can go visit places like that. Because not everything's on the rail.
That's true.
But when we went to Munich, we knew that the only places that we were going to go to other than Munich were going to be Freising and Bamberg, and they're both up on the train. So we declined to get a car.
Right.
If we go back, if we go back, I'm getting a car because then I want to hit a lot of these smaller towns with the breweries that are not on the rail system.
Well, that's what we're probably going to do. We'll probably.
Well, because Flodungen is not on the rail system, so
I'm sure Flodungen is not on the rail system. Yeah.
So you kind of have to.
I have to. I literally now I'm thinking you've made me actually have to look. I'm going to use Apple. I'm sure they're right, or at least close. Munich.
For what?
To see how long of a drive it is from Munich to
Flodungen.
Flodungen, yes.
Okay.
Where you want to go?
He wants to go to Flodungen from
Flodungen.
From München. And why is it taking so long, John?
I don't know. It's telling me. Oh, here we go. Directions not available. Directions are not available between these two locations.
You can't get there from here.
Oh, never mind.
You had it on rail?
Yeah, no, I had it. There we go. Here we go. Nuremberg's halfway between. So it's loading.
3 hours and 45 minutes, John. See how quick Google did that?
Well, yeah, directions are not available. On Apple, directions are not available. So there you go.
Yeah, well, here it is on Google, and it is 3 hours and 43 minutes. 6 hours and 11 by train because you've got to then walk from the train station in like 15 towns over.
It's closer to Frankfurt than it is to.
You can bike there in 20 hours, John.
I'm good. I'll take the 3 hours by car. I'll
3:43.
And if you want, the beauty is there's no speed limit, so you can really cut it down.
There you go.
With Jess yelling at you the whole time to slow down.
Oh no, I'm just gonna let her drive. There you go.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
You got a blindfold?
I'll just go to sleep. Wake me when we get there. So, in any event, all right. This was fantastic. Let's go back to before we wrap it up. Let's go back to Zee Loeffler. How can anybody contact anybody that's listening to this podcast that's in the industry and is interested in the services and the
Right.
and the chemicals and the cleaning sani that provide? How can anybody contact you? Contact Zee Loeffler? Contact anybody? What should they do?
They can call me on my phone number, my work phone, 404-433-2223, or they can email me, oliver.meinhold @windsheetgroup, that's basic.com, which is the mothership of the whole company. Or if you just, Google Zee Loeffler or Windsheet Group, you will find contact information. And if you ask for me, they will definitely connect you to me.
So you're based in Atlanta?
So I live in Atlanta. The headquarters actually in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Chattanooga, Tennessee. And you know what? I do have to get down, and I did promise our somewhat often, probably 2, 3, 4 times a year he comes on. What town is John in? John's in.
John's just north of Atlanta.
Marietta.
He's near Marietta.
He's near Marietta, not quite Marietta though.
Yeah, check that out where he's.
Kennesaw, Roswell, Alpharetta.
Starts with a C. Cumming, maybe.
Cumming, yes.
Cumming. There you go. I think
that's a little bit further. That's north of Atlanta. Yes.
I think John's incoming. Incoming. You see what I did there?
No.
But am I wrong? Is he incoming, or are you not sure?
I'm really not sure. I think when I met him, we met in Alpharetta.
Well, you met at
we had met at a Taco Mac. Of course,
you met at a Taco Mac.
Yeah.
True.
And he's not too far from Alpharetta. He is.
Cummings is not really far from there anymore. That's right.
He's in Canton.
Canton.
Oh,
that's
Canton.
it. That's it.
Okay, gotcha. Oh, it's all up there. Yes, correct.
So so he's in Canton. But he, I got to get down there. I promised the last time I was talking to him, I got to get down there. We may actually get down there in November.
Okay.
And the reason we may get down there in November is actually for a concert that's going to happen in Atlanta that I just actually went to in Manhattan last night.
Rush,
yes.
Oh,
yeah.
There you go.
There you go. Did see the fourth of their 4 shows in Madison Square Garden last night, and it was fantastic. And I'm happy I went. But my friend John, another friend John, who lives just out.
John.
Yeah, he lives outside of Atlanta too. He commented on a post I put up that he's going to see them in November, and that prompted me to go look. And sure enough, they're playing in Atlanta in November, so we may get down there. So if that's the case, I will let you know, and we will definitely.
Please.
We will definitely have some.
You can go to a nice brewery, have some beers.
Absolutely, 100%. We'll bring John along, and it will be fantastic because we have a few shows coming up before, as we close out the year. We do a show with him in October. We do a show with him in November, and one in December as well.
Yeah, there's the one in October.
Yes, you love it so much. I know.
I can see.
That's our.
It's an adjunct show. It's a pumpkin beer show. A pumpkin beer show. So.
Oh boy, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I last year I did find a way to have fun with it though. I drink out of odd drinking vessels.
Odd vessels. There you go. Oh, yeah. So it was more about the vessel than the beer for him. So.
The oddest one I drank out of last year was a one of the big glass measuring cups.
Oh, nice. Like a beaker type thing.
Well, we actually did.
No, the ones that you use for cooking.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Like an anchor hocking measuring cup.
Yeah.
We
so
did
were able to.
It was a Pyrex.
Pyrex. We're about a month away from entering our 7th year of doing this podcast.
Nice.
And we just did our first mid-December. We just did with John that we're speaking about. We just did our first German holiday beer show, which was fantastic. So I'll send you the link to that. You should check it out. But and it was fantastic. And obviously we made mention of the Tuger Badger Vader and the Einbecker Winterbach and the Delicater and everything else. So anyway,
And we took a little liberties and did have Samichlass.
Yeah, well, you did.
I did. Well,
You did.
it's German, but also Austrian. Depends on what year you're talking about.
Right. Well, I mean,
It's Germany.
Ollie was talking about going up to Austria and I think he was called a Black Magic Weissbier killer in Austria.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct. Yes. Yes.
So,
That's high praise from Austrians, by the way.
yeah.
I've got a couple of Austrian friends, and I love drinking with them. They actually came and met me in Munich, and they're the main reasons.
Did you meet them in Montreal, though?
I originally met them in Montreal, yes. But they came and drank with us in Munich, and because of them, I don't remember being in Hofbrauhaus.
That's why you said that before.
Because Austrians.
Blame it on somebody else, Dave. That's it. You got to do that.
Ollie's been in Austria. He knows what it's like to drink with Austrians.
Hey, it's a lot of fun. Cool people. I love it. Small country.
They are a blast.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
That's for sure. All right. So you got that information. I'm gonna put up on our Facebook page. I'm gonna put up a link to Zee Loeffler. Anybody in the industry that's interested in the services or whatever, if you've been to CBC, their booth was fantastic. I spent a lot of time there. We were talking. Ollie and I chatted a bunch, as well as
There's a lot of acid.
There's a lot of acid. See, that's why we haven't done that top three.
Because we just.
There wasn't. Never mind. Anyway, on that note,
I would spend the whole show like this.
Exactly. You had to do that. There had to be a way for you to fit that.
You told me you wanted to do that.
I did. You're right. I did say that. I did. Fair enough. All right. Ollie, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Absolutely.
Stick around.
Thank
We're going to chat a little bit when we're done, just for a couple seconds. But on that note, we will wrap up the show for today. We want to thank everybody for watching. And for those of you just listening to the audio podcast,
Stop using your cheater.
Thank you for listening. Whatever. It's a crush.
You can go through this without it. You know.
I know. Don't forget to visit our website, www.lagerroom.com. That's LEGERROOM.com. And please remember, like us and follow us on all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course our YouTube channel. All of them are at The Lager Room. Remember, we go live with the video podcast on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, X, I guess it is at this point, every Tuesday night around 6:30, 7 o'clock Eastern Time. And for those of you who just want to listen to the audio podcast, you can do so on our audio host, Spreaker, as well as iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Odyssey, Audible, Pandora, Amazon Music, YouTube Music, iTunes Music, TuneIn, Podcast Addict, Castbox, Deezer, Podchaser, and Listen Notes. Pretty much anywhere you can find an audio podcast, you will find the Lager Room Guys Craft Beer Podcast. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to one or more of those feeds, and you will never miss a show. Again, thanks for following along with us. Have a great rest of your week. Have a wonderful weekend. Ollie, once again, thank you so much for coming on. This was a fantastic show.
You're welcome.
Very informative.
So much, yes.
So fun. I love talking about German beer styles. I love talking about.
It was a pleasure.
100%.
That was impressive, John. 3 Doppelbocks, and you only slurred one of those words.
See what I mean? You know what it is? It was the morning recovery. There you go.
No, remember we said it doesn't keep you from getting drunk.
I know. It was the water and the cookies. That's what it was.
And the water and the cookies.
What was the water and the cookies? There you go. All right, Ollie, we'll talk to you in a second. Once again, guys, thanks for coming. Thanks for sticking around. We'll talk to you next week. Have a great weekend.
We will.
Enjoy a lot of beer, but drink responsibly, and we'll talk to you then. Take care, folks. Cheers.
Bye, everybody.
You froze that last bit.
I'm back. Was my audio okay?
Your audio was beautiful.
There you go. It's just my face. That's fine.
Sehr gut.